Hey you guys. Hopefully I am live. I know I say that every time, but I get like a little circular thing and it never really tells me when I'm actually live. It says live, but then sometimes I'm not because the beginning gets cut off. But I had said to you a couple days ago that I was going to post a video talking about adjusting our language and the way that we talk to ourselves to sometimes, one, take ownership of our decisions, or two, change some of those deeply held beliefs that we have that reinforce the fact that we aren't in control. So I just sort of thought of I wrote down some different things that I typically hear that I talk to people about adjusting their language around. I used the example in the video the other day, but I'll bring it up again in case you didn't watch that. When someone says, Jessica, I fell off the wagon, the problem with that phrase is it is absolving you of responsibility, because falling is something that happens to you, right? It's an accident. It's something that you couldn't control. You fell, right? So when I hear someone say that, I say, listen, I really want you to consider when that pops in your head, instead say, I chose to eat off plan. I chose food that harmed me, because then that's you owning it. Or even, I jumped off the wagon, because if you own that, then that prompts you to actually look at why you did what you did. If something happened to you, if you fell, that's passive. And it doesn't prompt you into looking at why it happened. You actually can feel like a victim in that case. I fell. I'm a victim of a fall. If you say, I jumped, I made the decision, then you have to say, why did I do that? What was the situation? Did I identify my danger zone? What is it that I believe that Ed told me? So that's sort of what I'm going for with this type of thing. But I want to share with you some of the other things that I hear people say that I often have them adjust. And one of the number one things that I hear people say, and this word always catches my ear, I always fill in the blank. And so, for example, they might say, but I always eat in front of the TV. That's really dangerous, because when you say that, you are reinforcing this is something I can't change. Instead, what I ask people to say is, in the past, I have eaten in front of the TV, but I don't have to choose to keep doing that. See, the truth is, any behavior that we identify that doesn't serve us well is something we can change. It does not matter how long you have done things a certain way. If it doesn't serve you well, then it is a behavior you can change, because remember, you are not your behaviors. It's not who you are. What you do is not who you are. You can change any behavior, no matter how long you've done it. So saying, I always eat in front of the TV, reinforces, you hear yourself say it, and you say, yeah, that's just what I always do. And again, it just becomes like, it feels like this impossible thing. If you say, in the past, I have eaten in front of the TV, but it doesn't serve me well, so I'm not doing it tonight. It's a good way to kind of tweak that. So think about the things that you say, I always eat at night. Well, maybe you recently learned from me, or from somewhere else, you read a study that your body produces twice as much insulin for the same food at night, meaning you're staying in fat storage mode longer at night, eating the same meal. But I always eat at night. In the past, I've eaten at night, but I'm willing to experiment with closing my window earlier. See the difference? It's leaving yourself open to change. You're not leaving yourself open to change when you say I always. Just a few other things that have popped in my head, or I hear people say, that reinforces something that isn't true. This is too hard. And instead of saying this is too hard, when that thought pops in your head, you have to say, this isn't easy, but it will be worth it. Staying sick is too hard. Do you see how you adjust that? You address that? When the thought, this is too hard, pops in my head, I say, I can overcome anything if it leads me to a better version of me. I can change any behavior. I can lean into any conflict. What's too hard is staying the same. What's too hard is going back and forth, right? Because Ed will put that in your head. Sobriety is too hard. No. Being sick is too hard. So adjusting that. Using Ed's own words against him, right? It's too hard. No, being sick's too hard. Being back and forth and starting over again and again, that's too hard, right? I've heard this one. I'm going to die if I don't eat something. I may have said this before along my journey. In fact, I'm pretty sure if my daughter was here, she would tell you that is absolutely something I've said. I'm going to die if I don't eat something. And we give in and we eat. And the reality is, it's happened to me in times where I have committed to a fast, and that thought pops in my head and I say it with my mouth. I'm going to die if I don't eat something. What's the reality? The reality is, I've got tens of thousands of calories of body fat. Nothing bad is going to happen if I sit with my hunger. And some of you guys give into emotional eating specifically a lot of times at night. And the reality is you've had plenty of food all day. So you saying, I'm going to die if I don't eat something, it actually creates, it like quickens your pulse and it creates even more of a pull to go eat. The reality is hunger comes in waves. It comes, it peaks, and then it goes away. It doesn't go, and then you die. That doesn't happen. So saying things like, I'm going to die if I don't eat something, actually increases that desire and makes you want to go and eat something. I can't change. This is just how I am. That's a thought that I had many times that I actually believed and fell for many, many years. This is an attack on your identity. This and some of these other ones. Or this is just how I am. This is just what I do. And again, this is where you have to say, I am worthy of changing. What I've done all these years is not who I am. Understanding you are capable of changing behaviors. You are. A behavior isn't who you are. It's a thing that you do. And remember what I said earlier? Anything that you discover doesn't serve you well, that you are doing or participating in, is something you can change. And maybe, if you're thinking, I can't change, you need to say out loud, I can change. Here's evidence of it. And then talk about other things in your life that you've changed, right? Because we have all continuously gone through change since birth. We're constantly changing. There are plenty of examples that prove that we are capable of change. And again, just holding hands with that this is just how I am. Again, that is accepting a false identity. You can say, you know what? I have struggled with the same thing for a very long time. I don't have to keep doing that. Or I can't wait to see who I am when I'm free of this compulsion. Again, using sort of that Ed's lies against him. This is just how I am. Yeah, but what am I like when I change that? How am I when I take away the food addiction? This is one I was so guilty of, and I try to be really careful with now. I'm a perfectionist. That sounds not like a really negative thing, but it is, because Ed uses it against us, right? He says, take one bite, then you take one bite, and then he's like, you're not perfect, so just throw in the towel. And he uses that one little lie to, compound and pile on more lies. I have to say, in my life, and I've mentioned this before, I have been, clinically diagnosed with OCD, and perfectionism kind of comes along with that. I've also discovered that most people who have eating disorders have some perfectionistic tendencies. And so, in a way, sometimes we pride ourselves on that. People have said, oh, you're a perfectionist, and that's what made us a good employee. You're a perfectionist. That's why our work is flawless. That's why we hold ourselves to a higher standard. So we don't see that as a negative. But when it comes to your eating disorder, it really is. And so one of the things that I say when that pops in my head, I'm a perfectionist, is I say, I struggle with perfectionistic tendencies, but I'm working on that. Or I'll say, I have struggled in the past with perfectionism, but I'm working on that, and I understand there is no such thing as true perfection. And part of what keeps me frustrated is trying to create something that doesn't exist. And then the last thing, and this is a big one, and it kind of goes back, and it can be a hard thing, but one of the things that I would say, one of the things that would pop in my head is I hate and I would say legs. Like I have, a question that I get all the time is, do you have loose skin? And yeah, there's areas of my body that I have loose skin. I've done very well in some areas, and fasting and autophagy has definitely helped some, but I have some loose skin on my arms, on my upper arm. I have some loose skin on my butt. I have some loose skin on my thighs and legs. And so it's easy for me now to stand in the mirror and either think or say aloud, I hate my legs. And the second I think that, I capture that thought and I say, you know what? I am so grateful that these legs held me up at 309 pounds and that they have allowed me to heal, and I have bounced back to the extent that I am right now. And so gratitude is one of the things that helps overcome that. So when you say, I hate, and you name a part of your body or something that truly is part of you, I challenge you to think about a reason why that part has served you well, and really access gratitude. Because that's really, really important. The truth is, I don't hate my legs. They will never, ever look like I looked when I was 20, 30 years old. It's not going to happen. You know, they were so stretched out when I was overweight. The elasticity is not there at almost 48 years old. I don't hate them. I am grateful for all that they have done. I am grateful for what they do for me now. They carry me around. There's things I actually like about them if I stop and think about it. I like having long legs. So I don't hate them. So challenge that anytime you say, I hate this about me. How does that body part serve you well? So again, that's what I got. I just want you to start to think about what are the things that you say that you can just adjust your language on as you speak out loud. You have a thought in your head, but when you speak it out loud, when you capture that thought and speak it out loud and you adjust, it helps you take ownership, it helps you dig a little bit deeper, and it helps you have gratitude, and it helps you realize I'm not my behaviors, I'm not the things that I've done. And while I might struggle with certain tendencies, you can say, yeah, I've struggled with perfectionism, but I'm working on it, and I'm really understanding there's no such thing. Like, that's such a great response to that when you say that about yourself. So anyway, hope this is helpful, and looking forward to talking to y'all again tomorrow. Hope you're having a great last week. Wanted to let you know I haven't put up a link or said anything, and a couple people asked me, are you doing a March group? I am. It's on the website. I can I'll post a link to that for those who want to come along. I do have a couple of new people that are coming into that group, but anybody who wants to continue in this group, as always, I will put that link up so you can sign back up. You want to do that hopefully before the 1st, because the last day of this group is the 28th. We'll have our last call this weekend, but I look forward to seeing a lot of you come along with us, and as well as a couple of new people. And as we continue to just kind of dig through this stuff, and I realize like some of it is easy to hear and some of it's hard to hear. When I lean into subjects that are hard for people to hear, I do that with caution, but I do it also in great honesty. Having been clean for 6 years, I share things with you. I share processes with you that I have had to go through in order to get well and stay well. And some of those are not fun, and they're not exciting, but you do need to lean into them to have lasting freedom, at least in my experience. So anyway, again, hope to see a lot of you come along into next month's group, and I'll post that at some point today. But adjust your language, and it really does help you change how you see yourself and put you in a place where you understand I am capable of changing. I really, really am. That's just a behavior, and all behaviors can be changed. So anyway, have a good afternoon. I'll talk to you soon.